was delivered here in our house. Gage caught him. I know. Gage caught him. Super dad. Super dad. So, if you don't already know, we had the baby. He is currently having a little nappy poo over there in his little swing. Praise the Lord for swings. Oh my goodness. Don't mind my greasy looking face. We are battling a rash. Thankfully, it's on its way out. I've been struggling with it since early pregnancy and now it's finally leaving because #breast milk. Anyways, that might be too much information, but Gage has been pulling those triple shifts, which I'm so thankful for Gage. Oh my goodness. What would I do without him? Honestly, what an amazing dad, husband. So thankful. Yeah, so I'll explain to you how everything happened. So we were out at Gage's parents, my in-laws, their cottage, and we're like, let's go on the water. They closed down the beach, like the public access, so we had to go through like the reeds to access the lake, which is like, if you know, like walking through reeds, it's like you sink in like feet of mud. I don't know. I don't even know why. I guess it's not because there's a beach there, so it's just like lake bed, water bed stuff. We had like our little boat, our little dinghy with like a little electric motor attached, ready for us to go on the water. Blue and I get in there, and I'm also 41 weeks pregnant. No, I was 40 weeks. I was 40 weeks and 5 days, not 41. If you remember my story with Blue, I got induced with Blue, so I don't, at this time, I'm not even sure if my body knows what to do. Like, I've never even gone into labor naturally, thinking I'll be pregnant forever and I can do this. I can go on a dinghy through the reeds on a lake this pregnant and nothing will happen. Everything will be fine. So we get on, and we also, you had to like ride a quad down to the lake. So we're on a side-by-side with the dinghy attached on top of the side-by-side. We're going very slow because obviously like just all that movement, you can't go fast. So we're going very slow, very, very, very slow. So it wasn't like that's what put me into labor or anything. I honestly don't think it was any of this. I think it was just my body was ready, which is really cool. So get down and get onto the water. We're having a great time, buzzing over to like where there is a beach that we could just enjoy with Blue, since it was kind of like the last nice day before the fall weather started kicking in. So we get onto this little beach. Everything's going well, you know, nothing seems off, nothing seems strange. So we're on our way back because the sun's going down, and I'm like kind of noticing something feels different, like kind of like maybe a contraction, but I just don't even know what it feels like a normal one. I felt something on the way back and I was like, this is different. And that's kind of all I thought. I didn't think much of it. I was like, this is strange. And so then we get the whole ordeal of getting out of the water, which into the reeds where the side-by-side was parked in the woods was a thing. And I'll show you a picture if I can of like what we looked like before the lake. I know. Yeah, we're cool. So then we get back to the cottage and we're gonna have supper. Everything's going fine, but I noticed that I'm like going into like a different place, like a different zone. I was just kind of like feeling, I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. And it was just like a very strong feeling, which I was like, this is weird. And Gage, he's like having a glass of wine or something. And I'm like, Gage, you should probably stop because I don't know, something's going on, and I'm still fine, like nothing, like I'm not contracting or anything really, like something was happening, like I would say like minor contractions. So I'm like, we gotta get home. I just want to go to bed. Like I just really want to get home. And Gage is like, okay, yeah, this is kind of weird. Everyone's kind of looking at me. We're just talking about it. I'm like, this is weird. I'm in a weird spot. I want to go home. We kind of finish up supper and I'm like, just eager. So we get home, go to bed at like 10:30. I wake up at midnight. So I only had an hour and a half sleep. And I'm starting to have like just very like small, well, just contractions, but just not regular. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna wake Gage up. That's like rule number one. That's what everybody does. Just don't wake your husband up because you need the support. You need the support system in place. I'm like just trying to like be fine in bed and stuff. And then at about 3:30, I get out of bed and come downstairs, and I'm just kind of like laying on like we have like an exercise ball. And I was like, I'm gonna make cookies or biscuits or something just so to keep my mind off of it. I just need to do something. And I watch a video that Bridget Taylor, highly recommend if anyone's going into labor and you don't know much, she's your girl. I'm serious. And she had said, if you're in early labor and you're having contractions and it's in the middle of the night, don't try to occupy yourself. Like, just go and rest. Like, that's, otherwise it'll make everything longer. So I'm like on the exercise ball about to start biscuits or cookies, whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, scratch that. I'm going back to bed. I'm gonna lay down and rest as much as I can through these because I just couldn't relax. Like they were just, you know, things were happening. At about 4-ish, 4:30, adrenaline kicks in and I start shaking. Like my whole body is like, and I'm just like, I'm like, okay, 4:30 is probably a good time to ask Gage to wake up. So I tap Gage. I'm like, hey, I think I need your support. As I'm like shaking, and he's like, oh yeah, totally. Wakes up. I'm like, did you have a good sleep? He's like, yeah, I had a great sleep. I'm like, awesome, because I didn't sleep. Woohoo. Now we're both awake, and with Blue, because I was induced, I would say the contractions were different than this time around, like going into labor naturally. I wouldn't say that it was painful. Some people have like terrible experiences and are screaming and stuff, and like I don't do that. Like I didn't do that with Blue. I didn't do that with this delivery. Like it wasn't painful. And is it because I have a high pain tolerance? I don't know. It was still really awesome. And so anyways, I needed Gage to just kind of help me focus through like breathing, like just breathing through the contractions, because they're like surges. Like my body, like my brain knows when it's coming, and it just starts like going like this, and it's like a small little wave, and it's just like getting more intense, more intense, more intense, peaking, 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 and it's like that's when it's really intense, and then just gradually goes down, and like that's what each one's like. And like, you know, and then your distance between varies. And he was asking, he's like, when did you want me to call the midwife? And I'm kind of like going into a zone of just like really needing to focus through the surges, the contractions. I kind of just made up in my mind that I was going to just trust Gage when he wanted to call the midwife. I had no idea. Like I was like, I don't know how long this is going to take. I've never done this like at home in our bedroom, you know, before. So it was all like a very new experience. But I think he called her around 5 or 6 or something between there, and she had asked how I was doing, and like obviously like we were doing really good together. Gage was just really helping me like keep me focused and relaxed and calm, because if you just start tensing up through those contractions, like it'll make it worse. So you want to just be so calm and like she asked if my water had broke, and it hadn't yet, because I remember when I was on the table with Blue, it was just like because they broke my water, and that's when active labor started. It was just I would say when I woke Gage up, that's when active labor started for me. So yeah, so about 4-ish, 4:30. And so about 5 or 6, that's when he called her. Water still hadn't broken. I was like, when do we get into the tub? Because I know the tub can like kind of slow the process down. I didn't want that. I wanted to utilize that. I wanted it to work for me. At about 6-ish, I think. 6-ish, between 6 and 7, Gage got the bath ready. I go in there. I don't know if it helped like relieve anything. It was nice though. Like it was nice, just kind of like a different sensation, but you're still in like that zone, right? So, and then he called her. I remember my water broke in the bathtub, which was just so cool. Like it's just so cool having a baby at your own house. Like there's no people, there's no yucky lights, you know, it's just you and your whoever you want. We had our twinkly lights, you know, and it was just nice and calm. It was still intense though, but you know, like there was no other like. So yeah, so I'm in the water. Water broke. I felt the pop, and I was like, okay, my water broke. And I think that's when he called her. Cause yeah, that was, and I would say active labor for me started at about when I woke Gage up. So 4:30, And then, so she came about 45 minutes before he was born. So water broke. Pretty sure Gage called her. She was on her way. And then he was born at 8:02 in the morning on September 7th. And I only had to push for 25 minutes. So hallelujah. Last time with Blue, it was like an hour because I was on dry land. And this time I prepped way more. He had a big head. Like normal babies have about 34 centimeters of a head. He had 36. So that left its mark. Had to get a couple stitches. Thankfully in my own bed. Like I just lay there in my own bed, wrapped up with my new baby. And she's just, you know, highly 10 out of 10 recommend a home birth. If you're healthy, you don't have complications, and baby's in a good position, of course. Do what you feel is right. Don't do something if you're like scared. Don't do that. I wasn't really scared. I was kind of like open. I was just kind of like, okay, we've done this before. We're close to the hospital if we need to go there. And I guess the one thing that I forgot to say, because there's not many other details, but midwife was there and I'm pushing to, you know, push him out. I kept sliding down. Like when I was like pushing, I kept, like our tub's really big, which was nice. That's why I wanted to do it in the tub. I didn't want to do like the pool that you can have. I just thought it was like a lot of extra work, where she's like, we got a tub, a big tub. Why not just use that? But my feet kept sliding. And so that's why Gage had he got in the water first with that, because he held my feet up with his legs, like just standing there, and my feet could go on his legs. And so he was in the water before. He didn't, yeah. And I think his head came out or something, and she was like, Gage, do you wanna catch him? And he just threw his shirt off. He's like, yeah. He's like, ready. And so Gage caught him, and he came out. His cord was wrapped around his shoulder, kind of twisted around his leg, but it wasn't a big deal. Came out just nice and the way he's supposed to in the water. It was 8 pounds, 7 ounces, which is 2 ounces heavier than Blue. Again, I said he had a big head. That was fun. I didn't have to get an episiotomy like I did with Blue. I think the water helped. Plus, like I was saying, I did prep. I did the primrose oil stuff. And yeah, so yeah, that's my story with this guy. Again, home birth is so amazing. I think the hardest part, so the hardest part about this birth was the fact that I didn't sleep. So when I was in active labor, so between that 4 a.m. and the 8 a.m. So active labor was 4-ish hours, which was the same with Blue. I don't include the induction part, like that was like nothing. But when they broke my water with Blue to when he was born was 4 hours. And then same with this, cause that was like the most intense part. Yeah, I would say the hardest part for this labor was the fact that I didn't sleep. And so during that one point, I remember just saying to Gage, like, Gage, how long is this gonna last? I'm so tired. Like I was so tired, and it was just like so much physically and just everything. And so I didn't know how long it was gonna last, and that was hard because I was just pooped. And he was like, it's okay, it's gonna be really soon. And I'm just like, how do you know? How do you know? But he was right. And you know what? I love that I just trusted Gage's intuition with calling the midwife. And yeah, like get yourself a good birth partner. I'm really happy that I had Gage. He's my favorite. So yeah. Yeah. And he was healthy and whole. He was 21 inches, same as Blue. And yeah. And now here we are, like a month and a bit old already. And he is like 13 pounds already. He likes to eat. And now here we are, like a month and like a couple days old already. And he is like 13 pounds already. He likes to eat. So, and then with Blue's birth, the hardest part was just the induction, like the induction drugs, because the contractions were so different. They were like black. It was like blackness just coming over and then grabbing my brain into this like cave, and then it would subside and just like whoosh, whoosh. Whereas this one, like I was a lot more aware, but it's still very intense. So that is the story of my second, I would say, supernatural birth. it was amazing. And I think we're gonna have more kids. Also, his name is Jude. Our little Jude bug. And we love him. And Blue loves him. He's learning how to be gentle. The first born has to go through a big transition. That's our story with our second one. I'm so happy that we finally have another baby through everything that we've been through. The miscarriage, the ectopic pregnancy. So thankful. Till next time. I do want to start posting more regularly. I'm so not that good at it though, because it's so much time to edit stuff. But it's like, I would like this to become a form of income at some point, but I don't know how far away from that we are. So anyways, thanks for watching the story. And if you haven't followed us on Instagram, the Wayans, check us out because I post there way more.